next, I think most of the startups out there are pretty much run on the mill. So, probably let's look at some of the unconventional ones. Up next, we are having a panel on building unusual startups in a niche domain. So I'd like to invite our panelists, Ms. Stephanie, co-founder of Mystery Vibe. Please. Co-founder of Mystery Vibe. It's a health and lifestyle brand that manufactures luxury products. In less than 2 years, they have customers over 40 plus countries. And it's named as one of the top 100 European hottest startups. So please welcome. A huge round of applause, please. Up next, I'd like to invite something totally different. The founder and director of Thal, Mr. Varun Venkat. Yeah, so Varun is a certified drum circle facilitator. I was actually searching for what is a drum circle facilitator, but essentially a group of people sitting together and drumming, and they have connected it with psychology. So it's a very interesting topic. I would love to know more, sir. Thank you. And we also have another director, Mr. Janak Vadagama. Please, sir. So he's the director at Thal, and in the past 8 years, he has lived in 7 different cities and 2 different continents. So he definitely has a lot of experiences to share. Please welcome. And up next, we have Ms. Savita. She is a certified laugher leader. So I think this is the first time I actually got to know. She does facilitation in laughter therapies, and she runs a startup which provides solutions around wellness and well-being. So pretty much around laughter. So let's see, should be very interesting. Please welcome. And I'd like to invite our moderator, Ms. Akansha Srivastava, Director of Azure. She has taken up being an entrepreneur 14 years ago, and she's pretty much a mentor, and she participates in a lot of communities like MIT, Seed Camp, TIE NASCOM, Microsoft Ventures, and all. So we have a fantastic panel. I think over to the panelists up next.
Hi, good afternoon. And to begin with, what a fabulous turnout. I'm based in Mumbai, but I have rarely seen this kind of turnout in any event. So please give it up for yourself. And fabulous job of organizing by the August Fest team. So Kiran and everyone else, thank you very much for having us here and giving us this opportunity. Thank you very much. So now to begin with, I had a brief, quick interaction with all these guys. And I have to tell you that you're in for a lot of surprises. And I'm inspired by how each one of them have taken up something totally unconventional, their passion, and turned it into a radical business idea. So let's start with Stephanie. So Stephanie, tell us a little bit about your Mystery Vibe. What exactly do you do?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Stephanie. I'm one of the co-founders of Mystery Vibe. We design, develop, manufacture luxury pleasure products. So our first product is a highly personalizable and very tech-enabled vibrator. We're based out of London. So yeah, thanks for having me here.
That's fantastic. And I heard something very unusual from her, that for a product like hers, some of her investors are actually based in India. Is that right?
That's correct.
And how did that happen?
So we started the company about 2 years ago, and one of the major issues that a lot of companies in our particular space, in sex tech, have is raising money, because obviously there are still many taboos surrounding the topic of pleasure and sex, and it's an industry, for example, that many institutional investors, such as VCs, won't touch. Many of them have clauses in their contracts saying no sex, no drugs, no gambling. It's just how they set up their contracts with their partners. So we had to be very innovative with the ways that we raise finance. One of that being going to angel investors, not just in the UK and not in the US, but much more broadly. And some of our investors happen to come from India.
Kudos to her, because she's dealing in something which is still a major taboo topic to really speak about in India. At least I would assume that. So, wow, that's fantastic. Well done. I'm going to ask Janak and Varun now, what does Starlink really do? And tell us, Varun, what's been the inspiration and how did you really start off?
Okay, wow. All right. So what I do at Tal Inc., what we do at Tal Inc. is we play the drums and we make people drum in a nutshell. And in this situation, we celebrate the emotions and the feelings that come up. So whether it is joy and fun, or it is something more serious like therapy, or it's maybe used as a training methodology for a group using on certain behavioral topics. The aim or the inspiration is to spread awareness of the use of various experience-based art forms and to truly understand its health and well-being benefits. So it started off with literally me playing the drums and saying, hey, wow, this would be really nice to do in a group. And then answering certain questions about how can I live every day of my life doing this? And that's where Janak comes in. So maybe you want to add?
I'll come back to the business bit in a while. I want to ask Savita, yes, we all need a lot of laughter in our life. We're all perennially stressed out. So it's an unusual idea. We would love to know what HOSAMANE really does and what was the inspiration.
Well, hello everyone. HOSAMANE is a company where we provide solutions to enhance wellness in the form of products as well as in the form of services. Products, we are building innovative products to induce relaxation in a person. And the first one, of course, which we came out was the laughing chair and app to determine the laughter quotient of a person. And we also conduct workshops which are experiential in nature so that you can bring out the laughter from the core of your being. And that is where we address the joy aspect, because there are a lot of pent-up emotions within you. And all these suppressions, when they come out, you feel very much light-hearted, and you can, once you attain that relaxation, you can go deeply into whatever you are doing. You can follow your heart, you can feel that light-heartedness. That is what I want to come out with, how to have laughter in your daily lives. Make laughter as part of your work culture as well as your life culture.
So we must mention that Savita is going to be around and she's doing a joy workshop at the venue. So all of you who need to laugh and are stressed out, please do go meet her and attend her workshop. I want to ask Stephanie that out of everything in the world, you picked up a really unusual product to go with. Why and what was your biggest challenge when you decided to found this company?
Sure. So we actually came up with the idea for the company about 8 years ago. And 8 years ago, I'm sure many of you can remember, technology wasn't nearly where it is today. And we saw a couple of different trends happening. We saw the rise in smartphones and how incredibly intelligent these things were suddenly becoming. But at the same time, whilst technology was getting more smart, we were also getting more distracted by it. So you'll take your smartphone into the bedroom with you. You might take your laptop to bed with you to work from. You're constantly getting a stream of notifications and emails and texts and WhatsApps. Or it's overwhelming. And for many people, this has meant that their sex lives has unfortunately not been as good as before. So we saw those trends and we thought we wanted to create something which helped people connect better when it came to sex and pleasure, learn a bit more about themselves and what their partners enjoy, and then the business was the result of that kind of line of thinking.
What's your current challenge? What's the biggest challenge in picking up something which is your passion and turning it into a business?
I'd say building hardware is always a challenge for someone who's never done it before. So actually creating a physical thing and mass producing it we had no idea how to do that to begin with. Partnerships. Partnerships have been the key way that we've solved our challenges, and I think we'll carry on doing the same. Finding the right partners is so important.
Sure. So, Janak, I want to ask you this question, especially picking up something as passionate and as personal as music, and then trying to take it to as many people, scaling it. There must be multiple challenges, but what is that one challenge which you guys keep facing repeatedly, and how do you address it?
Okay. Can I just ask the audience one question? How many of you play an instrument or are related to music? How many of you sing or play an instrument? Come on, come on. Okay. I can't see too many hands up. How many of you think that you can play an instrument or sing? Okay, there's too much light out here, but I'm sure that this number is much higher. Giving an opportunity to people to work with music or drumming and shed their inhibitions entirely is the first thing. If I come to you, if you're sitting by yourself and say, hey, take a drum and play something, you'll be like, no, maybe not. But if I do the same thing with 50 of you, then you'll be like, okay, you know, it's like applause, you know. Can I have someone in the audience applause? Just, yeah, okay, thank you, but it wasn't for me. This is what happens. One person starts, many people follow. When we started off, it started off with about 15 people every alternate Sunday coming in for a Tallink community drum circle. Moved on the next year to 80, moved on to 250, we had 800, and then we had 1,200 people turn out on one of the sessions. So we decided to expand. Now it's a funny cycle. Any entrepreneur out here who has big dreams will want to take their product global, especially in our case where we are not digital, or we are not on the digital platform. We have to physically expand, which means more people, more drums, more facilitators, more money, more events, so on and so forth. So the idea to keep the purpose intact, why did we start drumming, and to expand on that. So we had a dream which was there should be a drum in every Indian household, which is not a showpiece, which people should relate to, be able to play, be able to find relaxation within that. And to answer your question in a nutshell right now, the biggest challenge we face during expansion is the handling of human resource, where you have to keep your passion aside and start managing people. So you have to be, there's no magic rule book for it. It takes a long time to get ready. You end up making a lot of mistakes. You end up pissing off a lot of people as well. But then you learn, and that's the cycle that we are in right now.
That's fantastic. And you were telling me approximately how many people do you think you have interacted with and touched their lives with music in the last as many years of your company?
Well, Varun started off in 2006 and I joined in 2008. We've been friends in school. For the sake of fun, he used to write down every drum circle that he did on a skin, on a drum skin. He reached 100 and then he lost space. So we opened an Excel sheet and the last count that we had was about 80,000 in the past 10 years.
Wow. Fantastic. So, I was speaking with Savita and she shared with us how a very passionate product which she was developing did not work out for many reasons. You know, it didn't make business sense. And that is something which is very, very hurtful to an entrepreneur or anyone who's passionate about what they're doing. So what I want to ask from you is, how did you deal with that? And is there the next step to improving that product or going ahead and launching a new version of it?
Yeah, like as I said, my very first product which we started off was the chair. I was very passionate because once the idea was done, I was just waiting just to execute it. So without thinking and without doing any feedback like whether the customer requires it or not, I just jumped into the idea and I started building the product. And in the process, like as they said, partnerships, the persons who were building the product, they even asked that we will partner with you. But I was very possessive about my idea. I said, no, I won't partner. This is my baby, so I want to just take it. And then I applied for a patent also. Of course, the first round of art check was cleared because nobody had attempted such an idea. So it gave all the more impetus for me to go ahead. But only after the product was done and like the testing phase came, then I realized that it is appealing only to the physical senses. Laughter is something which is related to the mind. So you had to tickle the mind. I didn't focus on that aspect. So there I understood that to package that product into a profitable revenue generating one was not possible. And I had invested most of my savings on it because I had bootstrapped it. This was my dream, my company. So then I realized that passion alone does not work. If you want to do something, you have to see to it that there is a need. First, you are solving the customer's pain point, so which is well taken care of in our next forthcoming product. I learned my lessons and I've applied my lessons for the forthcoming ones.
That's fantastic because I think all these pursuits are about learning our lessons and keep improving day by day. So before I move on to ask the next question to Stephanie, I was wondering, Varun, if you want to take a minute and do us a quick, very quick demo of what you do, and maybe the audience can join in.
Sure, would you like that?
Not loud enough. I praise this crowd, man.
All right.
Yes?
Okay, super. So it's very easy. Okay, all I'm going to ask you to do first is think of a number between 1 to 8. All right? Don't tell me this number. It's not a magic trick. Right? Have you thought of a number? Good. Now I'd like you to think or pick a sound that is unique to you. All right? This sound could be, it could be, oh, it could be anything. Yes? Can you pick a sound? Have you picked a sound? On 3, I would like to hear all the sounds at the same time. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, not bad. All right. Now, I'm going to count from 1 to 8 repeatedly. Whenever you hear your number, I'd like you to make your sound. Good? For example, sir, what's your number? What's your number? The number that you have picked? 7. So on 7, you'll be making the sound that you have. Yeah, good, perfect. All right. Are we all on the same page? All right. Are we ready? Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 2. 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One, two, ready, and stop. A big round of applause for all of you. All right.
Thank you. Thanks, Varun.
Well done.
I think potentially some people are hungry and that's why the voices aren't loud enough. But moving on to Stephanie. So, Stephanie, how many countries are you, what are your markets looking like? How many countries are you servicing right now? Where are your products available? What's the market looking like now?
Sure. So the product was released last year. We have customers in 51 countries.
Wow.
51. We released our app on the App Store, on the Apple App Store, coming out on Android very soon. At the beginning of this year, and to date have approximately 150,000 downloads. So that's been an interesting ride. But our biggest market is the US by some big margin, followed by the UK, second biggest market. But Asia is a really interesting one for us as well. The Asian sex toy market is experiencing 100% year-on-year growth. So there's a big demand for this type of product, I think across the world.
So that's interesting, right? That you didn't find your investors in US, but that's your biggest consumer. Wow. So that's interesting. Yeah. And how important is technology with what you do? Because in almost everything we do in our daily lives or in any business, it does play an important role. How important is it for you, and how much has it contributed to your business expansion?
Technology is everything. It's absolutely everything. But the most important thing is one, that we don't just develop technology for the sake of developing technology. It needs to be to solve some kind of problem. And also, most people like to know that there's technology behind something, but they don't really want to experience it as such. You don't want to have complicated products which you don't know how to use. People want intuitively designed products that are ergonomic, they're very easy to understand, easy to use. So technology is important, but it's also not important, if you see what I mean.
Kind of. So I want to ask Savita, so when you do your workshops, and especially for, let's say, 25 to 35-year-olds, what is that one most stressful factor which you have observed in this age group, which is, cutting across all different professionals, and how do you address that? What is that, the highest stress factor?
Well, the one most factor which I have observed is people find it very difficult to connect with themselves. That is the most, well, we know everything about everyone else, but we don't know about ourselves. So this is one thing. And then what we do is, through the workshop, several self-awareness techniques are, they undergo through that process. And then they start realizing, hey, I didn't know about this about my body. I didn't know about this about my mind. Oh, is this, say for example, it's something as, say laughter is the sound of joy. People even don't know where the music, where the rhythm comes from. And why is it? If at all you are not laughing also, there is a reason. If you are laughing also, there is a reason. And then they get to know how the mental conditioning right from childhood, whatever we are today is mainly because of all the conditionings which we have gone through right from childhood to the day we are. So then they start looking at themselves, the reel of their own lives. And that is when they become participants become their own therapists. They correct themselves once they undergo through the process.
Very interesting. And if you were to share one tip with everyone here, one little practice which we can follow every single day, even if that can bring our stress levels down by 5%, what is that one thing we can do differently in a day?
Yeah, one thing, I can say unwind the mind. Every day before you go back to sleep, start from the events. Don't go back from the morning, that will be introspection. This is called as retrospection. Start from the events which is in the latest in the night and start recollecting all the things. Then you go back to the time when you wake up in the morning, mind is very fresh. Because the last thought which you sleep is the first thought which you get up. So if your mind becomes fresh, your sleep will become deeper for people who are having sleep problems and who face all this insomnia. And if you are sleeping well, your sleep will become more deeper. Do this technique.
That can be tried. That's easy. this panel is all about choosing unconventional ideas and different passions. So obviously I'm assuming the challenges are also very different. I want to ask Varun, do you ever feel conflicted because music is something so personal and so passionate, and then when you have to turn that into a scalable idea in business, do you feel conflicted and how do you handle that?
Yeah, it's a very relevant question. I started off playing the drum kit, so predominantly a performer. I played drum kit with Agni for about 3 years. I was traveling as their drummer. So the important thing was to make sure that I'm constantly doing what I love, how everyone here is pretty much following what they love to do, right? So as long as that's being maintained, I don't think it's me making the choice. The choice has already been made. I'm just realizing this choice as long as I'm true to myself and aware enough to understand this. But of course, to choose is to therefore renounce. So it's important to be aware of what we're renouncing. Over the last couple of years, I've worn the cap of an entrepreneur more than an artist. And I think truly understanding that is important, because if not, then yes, conflict is inevitable, as I have been through myself, because I realized, wow, I started off drumming, but if Janak asked me, when is the last time you drummed? And I was like, oh my God, I haven't just sat and played the drums for a long time, because we've been spending time figuring out how to make this sustainable for people, how to make people drum, that, wow, I haven't drummed in so long. So it's been a superb journey to accept, go through, and slowly start letting go of the conflict to be more accepting that yes, it's been so, and more importantly, how to pave the path so that I can do what I love to do, Janak can do what he loves to do. So I remember when you asked me, saying, what's your goal right now? Janak said our goal was a drum in every home. Right now, our aim is to maybe take a holiday, rest a little bit, and just play some drums, relax, do what we just love to do. And thankfully, today we're in a place to do that. While we're here, there's the teams working hard, and we'll have parallel stuff going on, so it's really amazing.
And do the two of you go to war at times with his business hat and your creativity?
Absolutely, all the time. My God, it's amazing. I come from a clinical psychology, artist, philosopher, performer space, and Janak comes from a business, events, hospitality, service industry space. So it's amazing. The two opinions sometimes could not could not be more diametrically opposite. But the interesting thing we keep saying is that unless you have the exact opposite opinion right there, and it's difficult to actually see reason, because it's very easy to fall in love with your own shadow and your own creation. So I think we keep each other in check. And would you like to add something to that?
I'd just like to add something to this. For every budding entrepreneur out there, it's not that I'm talking from decades of experience, but find that one person who's truly your opposite, that, well, you are, luckily for us, we are friends, so it was good, we are friends first, that you can befriend and fight and go back home and argue, come back in the morning, state your point, fight again, till you all reach a place which makes sense. Then call a customer and say, hey, you think this will work? And then start this whole process all over again. Now, like Neil mentioned earlier, saying, end of the day, the customer is king. So we might think and think and think and think, and when we go and take it to the customer, he's like, I don't like this, and we come back to office saying, I told you so. So that will happen a lot.
That relationship you described sounds pretty much like a happy marriage situation, right? You fight, you come back in the morning.
That's in fact why I'm single. I'm not.
So, Stephanie, you picked up a fairly unconventional field to venture out into, and what I want to know is, how did family and friends react? How did the people you knew in your community react? Did you get the support? Were they shocked? What happened?
I think as an entrepreneur, especially an entrepreneur in an unconventional space, having the support of people around you is incredibly important. I'm incredibly lucky in the sense that my friends and my family are all so supportive. My friends may have been a little bit surprised to begin with, but they ask me how I'm doing all the time. They'll connect me to people if they think we could do business together or form some kind of partnership. Everyone's really supportive, and I think sometimes people in different countries, every different country has a different culture, and we travel to different countries all the time talking about the things that we do. And I'm genuinely surprised actually how open people can be. I think when it comes to sex these days, people don't want to start the conversation, but they're very happy to join it, and they're very happy to listen and to put forward their own view if someone else begins the conversation. Like you were talking about with the applause, it's much easier if everyone's doing it. So I think that's the key. If we can start honest, open conversations about unconventional things, we'll start talking about it more, and people will be more happy to talk about it. And then that can only lead to positive things, I think.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, and I'm glad you had that kind of support. Savita, you were mentioning to me that you were doing pretty well in corporate jobs, and then you quit because you were trying to find your calling. And, you know, calling doesn't happen like that. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly realize that, you know, that bulb goes on and you say, oh, wow, this is my calling. That really doesn't happen like that. So is there you know, some advice you can share? How does one reach, what is that process which you can follow, or a few steps which can help you realize what really your passion is, and how does one pursue it, and how does one be happy in it?
Yeah, I think first and foremost you need to find out what is very close to your heart, and very, very close. It is not that you want a house or you want a job or a car or something. Those are all goals in your life. I would tell everybody to write down what is it that they really dream about, not in their sleep, but in their waking life. What is it that they want to do something which is very, very close to the heart? This is how I found out my calling when I wrote my dream. What is it, my dream? I really took 2 days to find out what my dream is. And then when I wrote down the dream, it came out in the form of this laughter clinics, which I called it as HOSAMANE. That was the first blueprint of my business plan, you can say. So I would... if anybody wants to ideate something, let them find out what is it which is very close, deep, deep down in their heart. When they write down, it surfaces into a form of a business plan eventually.
And you shared with us that your book is going to be out soon. And what is it called, and what's it all about?
Okay, this book is about all my journey of how I ventured into such an unconventional space, and why is it that it is so appealing to me. And the title of the book is How to Unlock the Joyful Spirit Within You to Achieve Work-Life Harmony. It's a self-help kind of book. I have shared my experiences, and as I said, this dream is one of the concept, how it leads to something very deeper. So these are the various experiences which I have uncovered in that book, which should be launching very shortly in a month or two. Anybody wants to have a free joy quotient, they can write a mail to me. I'll send that free joy quotient questionnaire to you.
Fantastic. And amongst my last couple of questions, I want to ask you, Janak, that when you pick something as unconventional as music, do these typical business plans work? Do these scaling plans work? Because I'm sure they don't, right? So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, they work because they help. I'm a master's of marketing student, so end of the day, I can't get my brains out of a matrix. End of the day, one BCG, one, you make sure your dogs and your stars and all the things are in place. What has to change is the reaction. Now, a lot of I mean, all of you, I'm sure at some point will probably get a book which is Business Plan for Dummies or something like that, or make a business plan in 20 minutes. What you really need, or what we really needed, and what my experience has taught me, that you have to keep reviewing. So you start off saying, okay, India is a market of so-and-so, this is your target audience, you've segmented it, you need to work with corporates. So it's a big thing nowadays, you know, everyone is creating an app or a product for a corporate. So we go to a person in a corporate venture and we tell him saying, hey, you know what, we can make all the people in your organization happier by 2 points on our happiness index if you make them drum. I take the same thing to another corporate, another corporate, another corporate, but moment I move from Pune to Mumbai, from there to Ahmedabad, Ahmedabad to Orissa, the same thing does not work. So the business plan or the modeling as it is taught in textbooks has to be adopted and adapted according to the times is what I'd like to say.
Sure. Stephanie, we were speaking about building not an Apple off, an Uber off. Very interesting point. Why don't you share that with everybody?
Yeah, I think building niche startups is an amazing thing because you can really carve your own path and do something a little bit different and almost rethink the way that people have done business in the past. I come to events like this and I see lots of people saying, oh, we want to be the Uber of this or the Apple of that or the X of Y. And I think sometimes it's almost good to create your own. Like I want to, maybe in the future people would say, I want to be the mystery vibe of something. That's what I'd love to see. Well, we'll see. But I think real creation and real innovation can really happen when you think of something that is completely unusual and niche. And building a startup in that space allows you to create your own completely different way of working, which solves problems. So yeah.
So great, we've run out of time, and I think what we're really trying to say out here is there's every opportunity to follow your passion. First, how you realize it, what you want to follow, then also learning that just working on your passion isn't enough. Building a scalable and a convertible model which can get you revenues is really important. So all the best everybody, and thanks a lot to each one of you for sharing your thoughts. Yeah, thanks a lot guys.
Thank you everyone.